happen first.
Right, that's the preferred scenario right now, correct.
And that includes the announcement of NESARA?
Yeah, NESARA is kind of a euphemism for exactly what will happen. The actual names and things that will happen will be NESARA in the long run, but they'll be in more of a stage operation than they are hinted at in the concept of NESARA as it's explained to people right now. So we just have to understand that's happening. The worldwide banking and financial system is already in place. It's just waiting for these quote-unquote abundance programs to manifest themselves. And they will be manifested simultaneously around the globe at the right time, which is very close. So what we have to understand is the people working in what the Galactic Federation likes to call our Earth allies are very close to finishing this process off. And so we have to remain patient. It's kind of like a person who waits for days and days and weeks and months and 2 hours before it happens gives up and then finds out afterwards that they should have waited another 2 hours.
Yeah, so we're in that final stage. I just strongly sense that there isn't much time left. I mean,
no, there isn't. There isn't. This timeline, which was set up as the basic intervals upon which this had to happen down here, we're reaching the end of that long interval, which they extended for years because of the need to finish off certain things. And they're all done, basically. So there's now actual physical on this planet, as well as, in other words, various legal orders, as well as a general, you might say, strong urgings from the Ascended Masters to get this thing over with, like now. So I expect that it's not going to go on much longer. You can't give an exact date or time, but it's very, very close.
Yes, because Earth has to go through her shift.
Exactly, and as people can see, exactly, Sharon, as people can see, around our planet right now, there are vast things happening because a lot of these plates are locking and sticking. Example of that was the massive, monstrous earthquake that led to the great tsunami that caused so much disaster in Southeast Asia and South Asia. And other things are happening, like you just saw there was a brief eruption of Mount St. Helens a few days ago. There have been thousands and thousands of submarine earthquakes off the coast of the Pacific Northwest and North America, and other things happening all around the planet. And there's a lot of energies being put by heaven into this particular thing. We've entered a part of the Earth's great orbit, which is roughly just under 26,000 years it takes the Sun to go in its orbit. We've entered that portion of the orbit right now where we are in a massive system of information being given us. So not only are we getting an increase of information about our ascension, this particular part of our journey is one set up for this enlightenment because much more information naturally comes in this area. So the result is people who have studied it have learned that the Earth's and the Sun's, basically the Sun's, the solar system's outer magnetic tail has increased tremendously. The amount of energy surrounding our entire solar system has increased tremendously, and practically every planet in our solar system is acting up right now, going through the massive points of change. And you see that even little Mercury, which has long been called in most textbooks on astronomy, studied in college and elsewhere, that it's a dead world. Well, suddenly it's even coming to life. They've noticed little changes, even water at its poles. So what is happening is even Mercury, all the other planets are happening. The atmospheric anomalies and even the larger so-called gas planets like Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and of course the big one, Jupiter, are happening. So what's happening out there is that it's happening. We are in the midst of a great shift. Our entire solar system is changing. Our sun is going through a massive hyperactivity. Our system is changing, and that means using the mirror effect, the Earth is changing. And so, we're near the end of this, to where the Earth has to follow suit with everything else going on here in the solar system and shift. And so that means that we, who are the intelligent caretakers of this particular world and of this solar system, have to shift back to who we were. And so this whole process is that we have to get out of where we are right now, which is in this limited, amnesia-like, limited consciousness, and get back into the all-knowing, very wise, physical angel, fully conscious selves who we truly are.
And all of these things seem to be happening very quickly.
They are. The amount of time that everything is happening, they've noticed that the amount of change is happening within other worlds, like astronomers looking at different worlds. I've noticed a vast shift in their activities of different worlds. Mars with its dust storm cycles and other things, its water. There's the vast changes happening even on Venus, the changes happening, as I just mentioned, in the atmospheres of the large gas planets, even Mercury acting up. And the same thing is happening even in little Pluto. So we have to understand our solar system is changing, and as above, so below. So Earth is changing. And, of course, people who have been studying all sorts of things, like the upper atmosphere of our planet, how it acts, the nature of how our oceans work. Ocean currents are changing a lot more swifter than they were before. We're having massive changes in the tectonic plates. So what is happening is that the planet is reaching a hyperactivity, maybe not as dramatic as the sun's, but still a level of hyperactivity that is indicating that it can't be much longer before the massive Earth changes that a lot of people have predicted for the last 2 decades are going to happen very shortly. And that means the time has come for us to go to the next level of our ascension shift as soon as possible, if not like tomorrow. So that means that we have to understand that contact and all the other things associated with contact, including the spiritual shift, is not that far away. And so we have to understand that that is a process that's happening in our reality and not ignore it.
Right. So we can look around us and see what's happening, and that can give us a time frame.
Exactly.
You know. Well, Sheldan, I would like for you to speak about your newest book. I know many people, including myself, have been excited about it.
Sure, it's been a long process with the editing, but what I have discovered in doing this book is just how marvelous the beings are out there in the galaxy, and how much they are changing, and how much they really care about the change happening to us. So what happened was, when I started doing this book, it was at the behest of a group. I had an update about 2 years ago, and when I finished, they said that they thought it was time to start putting together how each system that they wanted to select operated. In other words, how the different star systems worked, what they looked like, and how their governments worked. And it was time for us to understand that we have neighbors out there, and that these neighbors are very anxious for us to understand that they want to meet us at the right time, which is, we've just been discussing, is not that far away, and they would like to be a part of our shift process. And so what I've done in the book is introduce each section, and so we have roughly 6 sections, and the first section is the human civilizations, which of course will be the first part of the contact mission, which is they discovered, as they looked at how we react to different things, that we tend to be a group that reacts better to humans. We don't care so much about what color the humans are, as long as they look like humans. And they've discovered that when they use other groups, it doesn't work quite as well. You know, some people may have had a thing about E.T. the movie, but basically, people are afraid of anything that doesn't look quite like us. So what they decided to do was start out with groups that were human. And so in the front end of the book, I do 8 major human civilizations that'll be part of the whole contact. And so with that, they get to see about the Syrians, the Pleiadians, the Andromedans, the Altarians, etc. And also the different groups that were colonies from these major groups we just talked about, which are groups in Aries and etc. What you get to see is that human civilization has actually moved across the galaxy, and that part of this galactic migration was Earth. And then the second thing that they do is they look at the groups that we're more familiar with. So they have, like for instance, the Arcturians, which are what they like to call Equians, which are horse-related people. They're related to horses, and they're an incredible group. They are the great healers of the galaxy, and they're really magnificent beings. And what happened was, when I got to the more harsher, stronger groups, which have more of an oomph to them, I found it was much more difficult for me to take dictation from them. And I needed to have an intermediary. So what happened was, they sent us an Arcturian, and she's a healer, a great healer, and her name is Supa, and they'll meet Supa in the book.
Oh, how interesting.
She's just an incredible being. She's an incredible healer. She has wonderful energy, and I just I just enjoyed it. And of course, Colleen got a chance to meet her as